A lot of people think that, our people came over here and were forced into acquiring some skills to all of a sudden do work for others.
Right.
Yet we know, no, they were already masters.
And that's, just another example of our innovation and how it gets replicated in several ways. We talk about the urban agriculture, but we're talking about food all around. Mm-hmm. So when we think about organizations like school feeding programs and the Black Panther Party, we talk about extension. Again, we have this history of innovation, even when the odds have been stacked against us.
Necessity is the mother of invention.
Indeed.
Yeah, so the actual wagon was literally just that.
And Dr. Carver.
Yeah, so George Washington Carver was the leader. This was his program, if you will. He was taking the actual studies that the students did in the school and then providing that to the farming community. So of course we know, he's the one that popularized crop rotation.
Yes.
That we're still using right now. Many of the agricultural products that he made, of course we know, were, groundbreaking products. Right. But he was bringing these to the people first. So even though we hail him up as like these great inventions that changed industries, his focus wasn't really on the industry as much as it was going to the common man.
Which goes back to where we said starting from where you are.
Exactly.
And then branching out from
That's
that.
right.
Greetings, my name is Tenisio Seanima. I'm a farmer. I farm with Nature's Candy Farms. I am the great grandson of Augusta Long, a farmer who has been very influential on why I do the work that I do, because he started farming at 12 years old in Gause, Texas. The land that he farmed on has been in my family for almost 140 years. And so here I am, the next generation, just continuing on his works. I am one of those individuals who feels like my role is to be a land steward, to support myself, my family, and my community through my ability to take something as simple as a seed, put it in the ground, turning it into something of substance, that being food, and be able to offer that to the people in a way that can sustain us, allow us to continue to live, grow healthily, happily, and empowered. That's my focus. I'm a power broker. Prepared to always be growing, prepared to always be, learning something new, prepared to always shift with the times.
Iterating.
Yeah. Yes, because, no different than people could have probably never predicted that there would be such a thing as urban agriculture. If we had just stayed stuck in one mindset, we wouldn't even be having, this conversation contextually. Right. So I actually love how this work keeps you constantly on your toes. You're constantly innovating, and you're never just stuck in one space. You're always expanding, growing, and coming up with new ideas.
When we think about it, even as you said, there was a time when the positions that you're in professionally and the position that I'm in professionally didn't even exist.
Right.
So again, you can't just look at it as what it's going to be today. You got to think about it like, what can it become?
Yeah.
And that's why, again, it starts with that idea, that aspirational, and then you put a lot of faith in, technical effort and technical skill set. Then you get some beautiful things like this garden right here.
You're not rocking with the best. Nah, okay. J. Olu Baiyewu, City of Atlanta Urban Agriculture Director. I am a Black man, a son, a father, a husband, love warrior, urban agriculturalist. People are my passion, food is the current conduit. So today, as we stand on this land, original Muskogee Creek territory, Muskogee Creek land, we are at the Outdoor Activity Center in Southwest Atlanta. It's located in the Bush Mountain community, has a very long and deep history as being one of the first settlements in the city of Atlanta, even predating the city of Atlanta becoming that as an official city. We are also here at the Outdoor Activity Center, which is home of the Atlanta Black Crackers practice baseball field. The Atlanta Black Crackers are recognized by Major League Baseball and all around the world as the first Major League Baseball team for the city of Atlanta, a team that originally started in the Negro Leagues. And last but not least, this is the land that is stewarded by our wonderful partners, the West Atlanta Watershed Alliance, also known as WAWA. I saw the need and the interest for myself to be able to access food in a way that I just wasn't able to do in certain areas that I was living in. I really wanted to have an heirloom tomato, and I wanted to have it at any moment in time, however. So I realized living in certain communities, I just didn't have access to those. So once I learned how to grow it, then I felt myself feeling rejuvenated and regenerated by being able to grow that kind of food. I really wanted to gain access to certain items that I was actually selling in restaurants. So heirloom tomatoes, romaine lettuce that was grown, right here locally locally fresh red romaine lettuce, okra, of course, burgundy okra. So I said, how can I get that into my system in a more frequent way? And then I said, let me apply that to the community as well, because I'm not the only person who likes heirloom tomatoes. I'm not the only person who likes crimson okra. So what are the ways that we can incorporate that on sidewalks, community gardens, urban farms, etc.? So that's what just kind of kept me motivating, and that's how I've healed myself and also healed community as well. But I come from a line of teachers, so the idea was, how can I share this knowledge and this skill set with other people as well? And that's what led to me kind of being more external with the work that I do, and just constantly being ready to, share the information, show it in technique, show it in practice. My vision is connected to, the saying about there is no culture without agriculture. So even in my role right now, I'm always looking at ways that we can incorporate urban agriculture into city parks, how we can incorporate it into right-of-ways, how we can incorporate it into people's backyards gardening, how we can leverage, city property, things of that nature to expand community gardens, educational opportunities, outreach opportunities, and most importantly, fellowship, where that we can all get together. So if we can come together, break bread, grow food together, share food together, share the wisdom, share the knowledge, that's the definition of it. So my vision has always been that of to learn as much as I can and then to reflect it out. And I continue to do that at the city, and I'm looking forward to continue to do that for the city of Atlanta.
What's interesting about Atlanta is we got a lot of very unique characteristics here. I think about history of this particular area. Number one, let's just start with the 1970s Maynard Jackson. And so for him to recognize that we had skills that were top-notch skills, and he basically said, look, we're here, we ain't going nowhere.
Right.
You can either try to join us, or you're going to get ran over. That's how I got inspired. Just thinking about him, as he had the audacity, if you will, to claim a position. And here we are now. We've been a black municipality, for over 40 years. Something about that is very infectious, I think, in the attitude and just the tone of how we do things in Atlanta, to where even with agriculture, it was just ain't nobody asking permission to do this work. We're gonna do it. We are doing it. The Kashawn Myers of the world, the Kari Diops of the world, the Rashid Nouris of the world, Bobby Wilsons of the world, the Reverend Brights of the world, on and on and on. I'm almost reminded of the fact that many of these people had to justify their work when people would come at them. Kashawn used to tell me that people would ask him, well, who gave Habesha the authority to certify people as master gardeners? And he would say things like, well, who gave the master gardener program its authority?
Right.
You stand on your square and you do what you're gonna do. And that has become infectious, man. It's inspired a lot of us just to just say, we're gonna do it.
You think about the Lovey Gilliams, Jamila Norman, Mama Haleen, Mama Philomena, you can't deny where we are, right? As we sit in this ceded territory, which is Muskogee land, as Cherokee land, right? People are from here. But the other thing about Atlanta is it brings people from all across the world, right? We grew up with hip hop music. We grew up with the rise of LaFace Records. We grew up with all of that stuff. And the same thing is happening now with urban agriculture. So you have this diversity of culture, people of West African descent, all coming to Atlanta, whether in one of the surrounding counties or right there in the city core. And then we're bringing our kind of unique selves, our full selves and our cultural selves. So we're growing peppers up Buford Highway, and we're growing sweet potatoes down in Riverdale, and then we're growing everything in the city, because that again represents the diversity of Atlanta and what makes Atlanta what it is.
Yeah.
Last but not least, we can't forget about folks who are from here, right? So we hear this term, we use this term, BIPOC, Black, Indigenous, and other people of color. When we think about that Black and Indigenous, we know, and you know through your family and Texas roots, right, that exists here. So I think one of the things that we're seeing in Atlanta and in other places as well is that resurgence of the local talent, the native talent, who is also saying, we've been doing this. We've been growing food in our backyards, front yards, rooftops, and then you bring in all this multicultural experience, and it just becomes this unique thing that is very Atlanta, but you're seeing it in other spaces as well. And shout out to True Living Well and Habesha, which are both, part of our foundation, this whole thing, like we met at TLW. But again, even some of our agricultural training comes directly from the two oldest organizations in the Atlanta metro area that are Black led.
That's right.
For everybody out here, understand, if we did not mention your name, it is no love lost.
You ain't forgotten about
We ain't forgotten about it. And if you have a problem with that, you know where to find me.
You go find him. Don't come look
And then
for
I'm
me.
gonna send them to you. I mean,
This particular system is one that they've developed in Lesotho.
And they use it in Lesotho as well as in Zimbabwe, known as the keyhole garden, because it allows you to, of course, be able to grow your plants in a tight space. Of course, feed them, though, with compost that is centralized. And so what I really love about this system is it allows you to have basically 3 beds in one, a compost system, and a low maintenance design. As you can see, there's no weeds in here. I haven't done any weeding since this bed was built. So I really just love its ability to keep production high, but maintenance low.
It's a good example too of showing how the plants feed off of each other, and that's also part of the weed suppression. And it really becomes like a self-sustaining system. Like they're feeding themselves. When these plants are done, you can throw them right in there. They'll be feeding the next set of plants.
That's right.
One of the sayings that stands out to me is to plan your work and work your plan. So when it comes to this work, you know, it's a nonstop pool of knowledge. You know, there's always more to learn about the soil. There's always more to learn about the sun, the water. There's always more to learn about the plants.
Shouts out to all of the land stewards, the people who know how to manage the trees, the people who know how to manage the soil. Even if you're someone who's a mason, anybody that touches the land and extracts resources from it and turns that into something that can empower themselves, that to me is an agrarian, that's a land steward. And so I feel like if we can begin to tell that story from the inside out more, we're good.
One of the things I've discovered is that a lot of people, they definitely have like a secret appreciation for agriculture. And so when they bring it up, oftentimes, especially when they're talking to someone like me, they don't realize that that's the universe talking to them. So this particular site is one in which, for a short period of time when COVID occurred, I was actually driving rideshare. A customer of mine got into the car and just started talking about his interest in wanting to have food grown at his home. And of course, he did not know I was a grower. And long story short, this site that you're seeing is that customer's site. He literally had me come over, take a look at it. We kind of went over some of the plans. And now, as you can see, we've literally converted his entire backyard, at least a portion of it, into an actual agricultural site. It's all raised beds, sitting on top of mulch that we've laid down. And so what you see right here in the center is just the beginnings, but there's enough space out here to replicate what you see right here in the center, probably another 6 to 7 times. And just to give that, you know, some context, I mean, this is 9 bell pepper plants. I expect each one of those plants to produce anywhere from 15 to 30 bell peppers a piece. And I mean, you can see you got 9 there, you've got 9 there, you've got roughly, 12 tomato plants out here, which also have pretty similar production numbers. So a very small space like this is able to produce a lot of food. And like I said, I can replicate this just in this small area another 6 or 7 times. You know, when that gentleman told me that he had an interest in turning his site into a farm, he clearly knew that he wanted to do something, but I don't think he really knew how possible it was. And it just really makes me feel good when I see his face now and he steps out here and sees that he truly has a farm in his backyard. So, you can't pay me enough, you can't give me enough notoriety that will mimic that feeling. It's just that ability to make someone feel happy about their space, feel therapeutic when they walk out here and they can just smile and grab an actual bell pepper like you see right here and put that on their dinner plate. Man, there's nothing like it. So definitely excited about being able to make people feel empowered and being able to do for self.
Here at this wonderful site, which will become the next food forest for the city of Atlanta, you already have several elements, like a wonderful community garden that's beside me or behind me. On the other side of the historic Hartnett Library, part of the Hartnett Elementary School, you also have an urban agricultural farm installation, which is stewarded by Farmer J of Patchwork City Farms. We'll get down there and we'll look at the field where the Atlanta Black Crackers used to practice. Many legends were here. Many people who are residents speak fondly of the space. So you'll see the area where people practice baseball, which will also become another urban agriculture installment with permaculture design and several other things. And then last but not least, there is a 20+ acre old growth forest, certified old growth forest, which has many perennials, many native species, and also some food that's growing there. We'll be introducing other nuts and berries and mushrooms into that as well. So a full-fledged food forest right here in Southwest Atlanta in the wonderful Bush Mountain community.
Seeds of resilience. Resilience is the opportunity and ability to bounce back from difficult situations and quickly. And seeds are that part of a plant's life cycle in which it's basically resurrecting itself. It's going through its complete life cycle to starting all over again. It makes me think about the fact that people of African descent in particular, you know, we're returning to our glory. You know, we've gone through some difficult times and we still continue to go through them, but we also have the opportunity to reclaim our position. And I think that the seeds of resilience that, you know, influence what I do is just that ability to say, you know what, no matter what life has thrown at me, whether it be politically, spiritually, you know, the education systems, the criminal injustice systems, there are still ways that me as an agrarian and me as a land steward, I can become resilient, and literally the land is providing that for me. And many of my comrades, I would say, agree as well. We've been able to take positions within our lives that no other opportunity provided for us except agriculture. We've been able to inspire others, empower others, educate others, and provide sustenance for ourselves and our well-being that I see no other way to do that except through agriculture. Because for me, as we all know, there is no culture without agriculture, and that's what I base my entire life on at this point.
When I think about my lineage and my ancestry, my parents being both Yoruba in Nigeria, and then talking about how they used to walk down the street and see rows of hibiscus, rows of sorrel, all kinds of things growing like that. There is no culture without agriculture, whether we're in, you know, western part of Africa in Nigeria or right here in Southwest Atlanta.
And these are actually coming directly from an elder in our community, Baba Rashid Nuri. You know, one of the first things he taught me is, and this is, again, something that can be used metaphorically, but it's a life lesson. Never build a bed and then move on to the next bed without planting the first one. Complete the bed. Build it, plant in it, then move on to the next bed, right? But he also has taught me that you'll be surprised at how much you get done when you're not concerned with who gets the credit. So don't do things just because you're looking for the notoriety. Do it because you know it's the right thing to do, and the universe will always bless you. So those have been two lessons that I have taken to heart, and they have helped me tremendously in my personal life and definitely within agriculture. Always finish what you start and never do things for vain reasons. Do it for the right reasons and you will be blessed, guaranteed.
Seeds of Resilience is us being here right now in this space at the Outdoor Activity Center, a place that's in historic Bush Mountain that predates even maybe the inception of the city of Atlanta. The fact that we're able to come out here, be in this beautiful space that has this ancestral lineage, be in this place that has the agricultural history, be in this place where we're able to break bread, fellowship, talk about things, show things. That's the seed of resilience, the fact that we're able to do this day in, day out, and we bring that kind of knowledge through our ancestral wisdom. We bring that kind of knowledge all the way back to my family. To be a seed of resilience is for us to constantly show up and to thrive, not just survive.